Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to look at my fifth game from Nationals. It's a game I played against Greg Heidler. I just finished eating my lunch. I ate a sandwich with 4 different kinds of meat on it, and it ended up being piled high with about 3 inches of meat, and so I'm very tired, kind of in a food hangover coming into this game. But I've got nothing on Greg, who nearly shows up late for this game, and then tells me that he had a red-eye flight flying in from Hawaii, and fell asleep during the lunch break and almost overslept game one. So he's just woken up and brain's probably not firing on all cylinders, and I think we'll see that come into play later on this game. I get to go first in this game, and I draw AEHNORV. There's really not too much to be said about this turn. I mean, there are plays, there are like several 5s that all score 30 or so, Hover, Haven, and Haver. But obviously you want to play off the O when you can. The O is not that great a tile, so there's nothing really to be said here. I play vertically because that's what I prefer to do. Some people hate me for it. Greg responds with buoy, and I draw into AAELNNO. And this is just one of those freaking annoying racks where it's like all of my tiles score 1. I'm not even particularly close to a bingo, nor will I be super close to a bingo. You know, best case scenario is you get to play off ANO and keep AELN, and even then you're not bingoing super often into AELN. So just one of those really annoying turns. Quackle recommends you play Abalone if you put it on speedy player mode, but you know any kind of simulation is going to see Abalone get absolutely blown up. You open up just so many different scoring opportunities, and so it's probably much safer to stack over here. The best stacking word, just in terms of a leave perspective, is nano. You can do something else like ain or one if you want, but really I think this play comes down to just one of those two choices and nothing else. And I just want to run a quick sim for you guys to show how ridiculous the difference is between these plays. So you can see there, Abalone gives up nearly 56 points to the opponent next turn. It's down to 55 now, whereas Nano gives up about 37. So you're giving up almost 18 additional points to your opponent by making the play Abalone. So it's definitely safer here to make a smaller play. Now, the reason I show you guys that is because people like to say, oh, well, it's dangerous to open up hotspots, but it's really important to be able to quantify how dangerous it is. You're not going to never open up a triple-triple. That'd be silly, but Abalone is about as offensive a play you could possibly make. It opens up just about as many hotspots as you could possibly open, and that's 17 points more scoring than a nice defensive Nano. So just wanted to show you guys that. Nano is clearly superior to Abalone here. You can't even make an argument for Abalone if you want to. Greg responds with MOA, so I've got buoy and MOA from Greg so far. Lucky that he's bogged down with some vowels and can't score that many points. And I pick into ADEEFIL. So DEFI into my AEL. There are some options here, but I absolutely, certainly misplayed this turn. I have a propensity to try and play long rather than short. Quackle definitely recommends the play here is life. And I saw life, but I really didn't like how that kind of set up, A, a big spot for an S right there, but B, just kind of a bingo or die type board where there's not a ton of opportunity for mid-range plays. Maybe there's some plays here. But it set up like an annoying opportunity to hit 8s down, to hit 7s down right here. I really don't like putting myself into situations like that, but I thought a longer play like failed would be fairly close from an equity perspective to life, and I was wrong. If we run a simulation here, we start to see that life gives up significantly fewer points next turn to Greg than failed does. Life gives up almost 7.5 fewer points than failed. And so I definitely failed, no pun intended, to make the right play here. I need to keep it smaller. I need to not give up that triple letter square. And an ADE is kind of an annoying leave because it can end up with vowels, but it doesn't end up with vowels super often. I really made a bad play here. Should have played life. Definitely should have played life. Nothing more to say about that. So failed comes down, and what is the worst thing that can happen after failed? Well, that. I open up the I next to the triple letter, and you're always going to worry about the Q or the X there. But I even saw that QI didn't fit. He would need QAT or QADI, and that's exactly what came down. So I'm a little bit annoyed, but I deserve that. I put myself into that bad position, and, when you make stupid plays, you deserve to get punished. I draw into EEFMOU blank, and again, there's really not a ton to do here. You could maybe make an argument for a play over here like fume, but I think nothing's going to do better than FEU. It's better to hold on to an additional consonant rather than keep EO blank. And you score another point with FEU. So FEU, I've seen this already, FEU clearing away is the play that needs to be made here. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything special, but sometimes at Scrabble you don't do anything special. So I play FEU, and Greg responds with AXE, so he's got the Q and then the X on consecutive turns. It kind of felt like day one in Nationals for me. I just got bombed by these tiles over and over and over, but that's what those tiles are for, bombing. And I can't really complain, because I've drawn into EEKMOP blank, and just looking at the spots Greg has opened for me, I know I'm going to be scoring a lot this turn. Just, there's so many different plays that play over here. But the highest scoring one is KEMP, and I had to count this about 6 different times over the board, because I was like, I know that scores a lot, but there's no way KEMP scores 53. But it does. KEMP for 53 comes down. I hold EO blank. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty solid about my position in this game right now. Greg plays YOU over here for 29, and takes the lead again. I pull DEHOTV blank, so OE blank pulls 4 consonants. That's quite lucky of me. Don't have any bingos, and really don't have any important plays here except DOH. HOD is just a worse version of that scores 2 less for no good reason. And I'm not really interested in making any of these plays over here. You've just got to score 34 and hold the V next turn. That's pretty standard. So Do is going to come down. Greg doesn't have a lot of options anymore, so he plays Banger from this BA for 18 points. And then this is one of my more interesting positions of the Nationals. I've drawn CEE, TTV blank, and as far as valid plays go, there is VET, and then there is VET over here, and there's really nothing else. But I'm just not feeling crazy about holding CET blank on a board with almost no bingo lines after VET, except like few or feud, and I don't have the hooks to make that, and then maybe a line up here using the R. Just not really feeling it, and I feel like I can sneak something by Greg here. So I jump on the opportunity to play the French crevette, CREVET. Is not a word either. I kind of thought it was. Oops. But crevette is a French word meaning shrimp. I found that out later. I just felt like I'd seen it before, but it was pretty valid, or pretty certain I hadn't seen it in Scrabble. Crevette's also really, really annoying for a person to challenge in a tie game like this. I pull ahead by 63 after this play, but it opens up that enormous hotspot at 08. And like psychologically speaking, you feel like if you challenge and you're wrong and then your opponent scores 40 or 50 there, it's just game over immediately, especially on a board with this shape. So given the rating disparity between me and Greg and just the situation that the play puts me in, I felt pretty confident I could get away with crevette here. I wasn't 100% sure it was invalid. I thought maybe there was a 20% chance that it was good, but, sometimes you play phonies on purpose in Scrabble, or at least you should if you don't. It's a fantastic thing to do. So crevette comes down, Greg holds. After the game says if he didn't have a great comeback, he probably would have challenged it, but he gets to drop WUZ for 57. So absolutely no way Greg can challenge that word unless he's certain with a 57-point comeback that also clears his rack of WU like that. Excuse me. I pull into AADGILW. I feel I'm pretty solid about this because I've drawn the final D to hook FEU, although all 4 S's are still unseen in this game at this point. But then, looking around, I'd like to hold on to that D if I can, and I just can't find any plays that are reasonable that hold on to the D. In fact, I'm finding it hard to find any plays that are reasonable at all. It's ridiculous to drop WADI right now, or at least I feel it's ridiculous. AGL is not particularly close to bingoing. Wadi creates a good bingo spot. So I just don't really feel like that's the thing to do. Quackle, for some reason, likes Waddy up here. I just feel like I get crushed by counterplays all the time and set up some variants in the corner that I don't really want, especially against an opponent like Greg. I see AW up here keeps a reasonably balanced leave, ADGIL, although it does kind of put me in bingo or die position, and I'm really afraid of doubling or tripling up on eyes, because if you look at the unseen pool, there's 6 eyes remaining right now. Plus, it opens up a bingo line that I don't really want to, mess with, especially with an unseen blank and a bunch of R's, S's, and T's. You can make satire or satine out of the unseen pool like 2 different times, actually 3 different times if you had another A. So that's a very, very, very bingo-prone pool. And because of that, I liked it to play Daw. It scores pretty well, which is something you want to do in a close game like this. And it doesn't give back any bingo, so you can only play 6 tiles to the D and Daw. Now, if he bingos with FEUS right now, I'm in quite a bit of trouble, so I've just got to hope maybe that doesn't happen right now. But I still don't think it's a good idea to play Waddy down here. Because if he's going to bingo next turn, he's probably going to bingo no matter what. He's also got the 10 line to do it. So I play Daw. It does end up working out for me. I'm not totally sold that this is the right thing to do, but I tend to play defensive as opposed to the offensive or aggressive AW here, or Waddy here. Maybe Waddy down here is something I'd play in another universe, but I felt okay about Daw coming down. Now I don't feel okay about Daw coming down because he hits me back with GEST for 42. Just setting that W in front of Hoofs gives him an additional 8 points, and he was probably going to play this anyway. So GEST comes down. Luckily, I pull into AEGILNN. There are actually 3 valid 7s in this rack. They are Annealing, Eanling, and Leaning. 2 of those play, and that's Leaning and Annealing right here. And you can see Leaning gives back slightly better plays over on this side. If he's got, 3 consonants and a vowel, he can hit me back. So I liked to go with Annealing. I don't think there's a super big difference between those 2 plays, but Annealing's the one I chose to make. And I catch a break because I've opened the board. The pool's quite bingo prone right now, and Greg drops REB for 10. I draw ACIILOR, and I make a similar mistake to a mistake I made last game. I have a lead, I'm in good position, I see an open line, and I decide I need to thwack that line. What's the best way for me to block that line? And I get so concerned about blocking the board that I don't think about looking for bingos. That's twice in 2 games, but there is a valid bingo I have out of this rack, and it's right here. It's ironical. And that's just really annoying. If I had taken the lunch break to quackle my games, maybe I would have seen that I missed a bingo and I wouldn't have thought about, or I would have thought harder about doing it here, but I was just so worried about the triple possibilities through the G, especially because I'm pretty confident Greg has an S after he played off Jest so readily, and maybe even a blank. Play like REB for 10 strongly implies you have a blank or you're very bingo prone. So I get so caught up in trying to block the G that I don't notice ironical, and that's really bad. As far as playing through the G, I've got 3 different plays that make sense: Orgiac, Orgic, and Logic. Conventional thought is when you have a lead, it's better to open up opportunities to score 30 or 40 a turn on the board. It's pretty hard to lose a game if you're winning and you score 30 or 40 every turn. You can survive an opponent bingo, or maybe even 2. And I liked how Logic set up a bunch of opportunities for me to extend it in front. I certainly didn't think of all of these when I made the play, but there's Analogic, Biologic, Dialogic, or Dialogic, I don't know how you pronounce that one, but several different other options as well. I was mostly looking at things that would help me play off an I, because I'm really worried about getting caught up in I's at the end of this game. You can still see there's still 4 I's out there. Anyway, I like the possibilities of fun stuff I could do after Logic, so I chose that over Orgic, and I wasn't 100% sure that Orgiac or Orgiac was a word. I'm 95% sure, but when there's a triple open and you've got a lead, don't play a word you're 95% sure of. So I wish I had seen ironical. It's a very bad mistake on my part, but I like to go with Logic here. So Logic comes down, and I feel like I've got this game on lock, and then Greg starts setting down tiles over here, And I'm sorry, spiders. I didn't really even notice that spot. I was so caught up on the G. And I mean, there's nothing I can do to block the spot. And in fact, if I had blocked the spot, Greg would have a killer triple through the G. You can pause now and look for it if you want. The word is Serpegos. And that would have come down for a lot. Like, a lot. The P would have been doubled up on that double letter square, would have been a triple. Absolute heartbreak for me. So, you know, it sucks that he bingoed. I wasn't expecting it. I felt pretty good about my chances, but good on Greg. And I think he even told me he held like SEI or SPI blank because he saw the spot and he figured he could bingo there. He knew I'd block the G. So well thought out for Greg. And then I'm in a pretty terrible situation here. I draw AGILNRR. And I'm looking at the unseen pool, and there's 3 I's and 3 T's and a J and an S and some vowels. And I have no idea how I'm supposed to win this game now. It's nice to leave 3 tiles in the bag if you're capable of doing that, because it basically means you're going to get to go out before your opponent. And in a close game, leaving 3 in the bag, or maybe 2 in the bag, is a good thing to do. But I don't see any good reason to try and leave 3 in the bag. I can drop an R here for 10 points and keep a bingo-prone leave. But if I try and bingo, Greg is just going to thwack this line with whatever through the I or through the E or possibly even both. And I just feel like it's going to be hard for me to win the game. Maybe there aren't too many plays that actually and effectively block this, but we got Treb. No, do we have Treb? We don't. I thought Treb was a word. Yeah. Anyway, Oh. No, okay. Well, it's going to be tough, I think, for Greg to block this line, but still, I just don't feel like a reason to, or like there's a good reason to try and fish here. And 10 points, I don't think does enough. I spent forever on this turn. I probably had 14 minutes left on my clock coming into this turn, and finished this turn with about a minute or a minute and a half left. I just could not figure out what to do. I'm obviously worried about like JOISTS through this S. I'm worried about maybe like JTO or JOTA up here. They're good scoring opportunities for Greg. There's all kinds of stuff, and maybe even Jiao, JIAO up here. And I just can't figure out what to do. I've got to hope that Greg ends up with like the J and a couple I's and a couple T's or something, and he's not able to make a good J play, and maybe he can't even go out in 2. That's what I'm starting to think. So I want to score as much as I can this turn, and hope that Greg's got a bad rack. But then when with a rack like AGILNRR, it's tough to score anything. And if you hit the top plays, according to Quackle, like nothing really scores a lot of points. You can play Grin holding AILR, but I might pick up another I or 2. You can drop the R. You can score 15 or 17. I didn't see Urari over the board, but even then, like I don't know how far that leave takes me, how often. There aren't really any J plays I see through this R. But I don't know. I couldn't figure out what to do here forever. And then finally I noticed GRRRL will score 20. And it's like, oh, that's more than I can find with anything else. So maybe I do that. And then I thought, wait, no, I've got such good bingo-prone tiles. If I make a play like Rip over here, I might be able to draw a bingo. I'll probably pick up an I into AGLNR, and then I'll have an ING bingo that comes down with Grip. Except, oh yeah, Trip is a word, and there's 3 unseen T's. So maybe I can play Rid, except no, IRID is a word, and there's 3 unseen I's. Maybe I can play Rad, but no, that takes a front T as well. And I looked for all different kinds of setup plays I could make over here, and nothing really made sense to do over there either. So I still don't know if I played this turn right, but ultimately I just took the points. I said, I'm going to play Girl, and I hope Greg has a really bad rack, and maybe he can't go out into this endgame. I've got to pray for sure that Greg doesn't have JEST and Girls. That'd be absolutely game over, but for that to happen, he'd need the only E, the only J, and the only S. So the odds of him having all 3 of those are pretty small. I don't think Girl is the right thing to do here, but I have no idea what the right thing to do here is. So that's what I went with. And Greg is going to end up with AEIIJOT. So This is where things get super interesting. I think I'm dead. My unseen rack, or my rack is AIINSTT, which does have a valid 7 in it. It's Titians, or I don't really know how to say that word, but TITIANS. I can't play that anywhere. But Greg does all of his tracking, and he was tired. I said that at the beginning of the video. Greg doesn't realize that I have 7 tiles. Greg thinks I have 6. Greg thinks I have TITIAN and has no unseen S's left. He could have just looked at my rack to see that I have 7 tiles, and he even said after the game, like, how stupid am I for not doing that? But Greg puts down JIAO right here, and that allows me to bingo out. When it came down, I was just so confused. I was trying to hold a steady face, like, he must have mistracked this, and he did. But it was crazy. I thought for sure I was dead, and then Jiao came down, and I win. And I'm just absolutely shocked, completely shocked. Greg actually had a pretty tough situation in this in-game. He didn't have a ton of plays that won. I think he only had, Quackle said he has 4, but the play he said he would have made doesn't show up in Quackle's winning plays, and it still seems to win. Greg said he was prepared to play Jeton right there, which holds AII but scores so well, and I'm not going to be able to score very much at all. So Jeton's actually going to lead to a 1-point victory for Greg if he plays out this game right. He's going to play Jeton. I'm probably going to come back with Nisi and girls over in the corner. Missed it. And then Greg just has to find a high-scoring word. Actually, no, Greg can't play Aji. He has to play AI up here. But if he plays it out right, Greg is going to end up winning by 1 point if he plays Jeton. And there are some other cute little plays in there, too, that end up winning the in-game. But the one he saw ends up winning the in-game, too, just fine. Anyway, I'm not totally sure what I'm supposed to do in this pre-end game. Obviously, I shouldn't even be in this pre-end game. I should just play Ironical, and then I win the game. You know, his best comeback with Spiders is going to score about the same, but I've scored 40 more, and it's game over. Don't know if this was the right pre-end game, but, you know, in Division 1, you'll take any win you get. I needed Greg to be incredibly tired, and that's what I got. But, hey, a win's a win. A 51-point win, too. And at this point now, I've started 0-2, and I've won 3 straight games, and I'm up to 3-2, and I'm feeling pretty good about how I've been able to salvage this tournament so far. Anyway, that's this game. One of the more ridiculous victories you'll see, one of the most unexpected ones you'll see, and I probably didn't deserve it. I do want to point out one more fun thing about this game. The very first word that was not played vertically this game was Greg's Reb for 10. So maybe that's why Greg lost, because he accidentally played a horizontal word, and then I played a horizontal word, and then another horizontal word. But still, almost all of our plays were just stacks on top of old plays, so I thought that was fun. Anyway, that's Game 5. Game 6 is coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Adios.